November 4, 2010. A big Air A380 technology. Sudden serious failure. 440 passengers. Because of a millimeter error in the manufacturing process of the engine, it was hanging by a thread. After the plane made two loud bangs, the captain immediately realized they encountered a serious situation. He immediately passed the autopilot, flattened the climbing plane. Then the 5 pilots will. All attention turned to the plane on the instrument. Electronic centralized monitoring system. Look at it in 20 seconds. More than 80 different levels of warnings popped up. The highest priority warning is at the top. All points to engine 2. The captain is recognizing, after a problem with the number 2 engine, immediately retracted the throttle. Sure enough, I don't like it. Immediately there was an engine fire alarm number 2, and invalid warnings. The unit is in accordance with the procedures. The fire extinguisher of engine 2 was released, but the fire extinguisher didn't release. So he didn't release the second bottle. There is still no response on the meter. This is how the cable is cut. One of the many reasons. The plane's engine fire suppression system malfunctioned. After dealing with the problem with the number 2 engine, crew found, frame aircraft. There are also many warnings that have nothing to do with the engine. The captain immediately understood the seriousness of the situation. The co-pilot radioed MADA. After a low-level spray report. Next they should deal with the plane. The remaining 80 plus ECOM information. On the status page on the pass meter, understand which systems on the plane have problems. The crew had a big decision to make. In the face of so many failures, should have let the plane land first, or deal with the failure on the plane first. And that's where the importance of experience comes in. The captain first tested the plane's autonomous driving function. It turns out the autopilot was unharmed. Is that so? The plane can be under the control of autopilot. Waiting also frees up time for them to finish. The remaining issue, action troubleshooting. By the way, you can also make overweight planes continue to consume fuel. The last thing the captain wants at this time is, without knowing the damage to the aircraft, force a landing. How is the aircraft handled? Can the golden wings be released? Does the brakes still work? These key factors, they're all unknowns. Instead of this, might as well put the problems that can be solved on the plane. Finish first. Make sure all crew members are in place to land with full knowledge of the condition of the aircraft. No fragments when the roulette wheel bursts. Cut the wire bar that controls the other 3 engines. Numero uno. And the number 4 engine enters a protected downgrade. Mode 3 engine enters standby mode. However, these 3 engines are not practical. Qualitative damage. It's just that there is a problem with the electronic control. Therefore, the crew members reached a consensus after conducting an evaluation. They thought it was safe for the plane to continue flying. The co-pilot applied for a waiting route to let the plane circle. Crew ready in the air. Complete the remaining 1 card action. Return after fully understanding the status of the aircraft. Back to Singapore Airport. When the engine explodes. Many passengers in the cabin saw the left side. A hole in the wing pierced by debris. The purser used the emergency call function, called the cockpit. But the crew was busy rescuing the plane at the time. Emergency calls are quieter. The warning light is installed again, which is relatively biased, so the crew didn't notice the cabin call. But this little episode had no effect. Safety issues. After the captain decided to go and wait for the route to circle, the crew dispatched the second co-pilot, come to the cabin to observe the damage to the plane. A passenger suddenly stopped him. It turns out that this traveler also happened to be a pilot for Qantas. After the plane malfunctioned, he used the cabin entertainment system, reported outside the aircraft implementation screen, found fuel leaking from the left wing of the plane. The co-pilot saw the picture, to the rear of the lower splint of the plane. He saw near engine number 2. There is indeed a large amount of fuel leaking under the wings. Then he hurried back to the cockpit. Report to the captain. After learning that passengers can see the plane, after news of the damage, the captain tried to reassure the passengers. The captain broadcast, "I'm sure where we have a technical issue with. Number 2 engine. We have dealt with this situation, but the echo is secure at this stage. We're going to have to hold for some time. Once we do, Line now load by. Dumping some fuel and a number of chambers. We have to perform, but as you can. I'm sure you are away, we're not proceeding the city at this stage. We'll make out left, and now it's tracked back towards Singapore. And as we progress with this, so we'll keep you informed at this stage. Everything is secure, aircraft is flying safely. And we'll get back to very shortly with further information. Thank you for your patience. After completing the broadcast, the crew members are concerned about the impact of the live broadcast of the camera. A bad screen will make passengers into a panic. After discussion, they thought that if there was a sudden interruption, on the contrary, it will cause the plane to be completely destroyed for passengers. So they decided to leave the cameras on. Far away inside the Qantas headquarters in Sydney, 1,000 dispatchers. Surveillance data sent to satellites by aircraft. I learned at the first time that there was a problem with the plane. He passed ACARS. Multiple messages were sent to Flight 32. When the plane malfunctions, flying right over the Indonesian island of Baton. Huge turbine disc and engine skin fragments fall from the sky, destroyed the homes of local residents. Fortunately, everyone was at work at the time of the incident. No one was hurt. Local residents photographed the Qantas logo. Photo of fragments posted online. 5 honest people think the Qantas plane. There was a plane crash, and the news quickly reached the vote. In the ears of investors, CEO of Qantas, when asked what the company's share price is, after falling phone calls, I just found out that my plane had an accident. Qantas Flight 32 circled for 50 minutes. The crew is finally done and they can be in the air. Problem solved. Due to the imbalance of the fuel tanks on both sides, it is becoming more and more serious. There was also a problem with the plane's fuel system. So the crew has no way to release oil in the air, letting overweight planes lose weight. They had to decide, let the plane be overweight. Landing as quickly as possible. All aircraft before landing. Landing performance calculations are necessary. His purpose is to let the pilot understand, can the plane come to a complete stop on the landing runway? Zhangyi Airport has a total of 3 runways, east and central runways available. The landing distance is 4 kilometers. The crew selected the distance to fire. Stand close to the central runway. When they put the maximum landing weight of the plane, including the 9 systems that failed the aircraft, and they're fed into the landing performance calculation software. The software told them they couldn't calculate the braking distance. No results. This situation was completely unexpected by the crew, so he didn't take out the record system, spare third laptop, to calculate. The software also gives incalculable results. This situation is tantamount to telling them, for kilometers of runway, there was no way to land the plane safely. In fact, this inconclusive calculation given by the computer, it was caused by a bug in the software design. This software is computing the aircraft maximum landing weight upon landing, and every failure adds a factor. 9 fault stacks. Let this coefficient get bigger and bigger. So the runway length requirement calculated by the software, it's much bigger than 4 kilometers. This calculated data has been made available to the software, unable to display, so it can only be displayed as no result. At this time, experienced Davis Evans instructor, come up with another way. He used the actual weight of the plane this time. Calculations carried out. I didn't expect the software uses the actual weight of the aircraft to calculate, bypasses the logic of multiplying the fault base. Got the plane and wanted to come to a complete stop. 3,900 meters of results are required. That's exactly 100 meters shorter than a 4-kilometer runway near Singapore, and there is no runway longer than Zhangyi Airport. The crew is in crisis. You can only choose this runway for landing. After getting ready to enter, Captain Crespini cancels the hover. Qantas Flight 32, under the guidance of the controller, prepare for final descent. In the process, the captain disconnected the autopilot, manual handling of the aircraft, tested the performance of the aircraft. He discovered that rolling is slower than it used to be. In addition to that, the rest of the plane's multi-sided controls are fine. Without an engine. The captain, in order to prevent electricity, engines 1 and 4 with malfunctioning control systems. There was an accident on landing. He started to put the 2 outermost engines, set to constant thrust, to ensure the most basic power requirements of the aircraft. Only use affected the smallest number 3 engine, speed control of an aircraft. At the same time, the co-pilot is in charge of the staff, notified that the plane needs a fire truck, and applied for a longer than usual pentagram. Deal with the plane as it makes its final approach. Possible accidents. Qantas Flight 32 is under the control of autopilot, aimed at the two middle runways of Zhangyi Airport. Green hydraulic system failure. As a result, the unit can only use the spare square wheel system. Drop the landing gear. Very lucky. The landing gear system was not damaged. Normal release. Due to the leading edge gap, it is also responsible for the green leaf pressure system, so the plane can only stick out the gold wing on the back. Increase victory at low speeds. Plus being overweight. The lowest aircraft, optional airspeed and advance. The advanced speed is only 3 to 5 knots apart. If below the minimum optional speed, the plane will stall. If it is higher than the near velocity, the plane is likely to overrun the runway. Captain Crespini. Do your best. Use engine number 3. Precise control of the airspeed of the aircraft. Disconnected autopilot as it descended to 800 feet. As the plane gets closer to the ground, turbulence also increases. Only one engine is used to control the speed. The difficulty for pilots can be imagined. Although before landing, a stall warning sounded briefly in the cockpit. But Clay, Captain Spinney, still succeeded in taking this plane, a malfunctioning jumbo airliner, landed in Singapore, Zhangyi Airport. After the 432-ton behemoth fell to the ground, the captain immediately slammed on the brakes and turned on the only remaining number 3 engine to push back. Although the reverse thrust has no direct slowing effect, but it can make the brake pads reduce wear and tear. After the plane slows down to 60 knots, Captain Crespini believes it's settled. He even broadcasts from the cabin, a joke with the passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Singapore with the darkness. Thursday. Before Remember 2010. And I think you're driving, with the knowledge that this was one of the nicest landings I had experienced, for the wild. The plane is 150 meters away from the end of the runway. Stopped. The fire engine immediately rushed into the runway, spraying firefighting foam on aircraft. Prevent. Hot brake pads ignite leaking fuel. The crew is going through emergency evacuation procedures. Discover. The number 1 engine on the left side of the plane is due to the cable. It can't be closed. After making sure the plane doesn't catch fire, the crew decided not to use the inflatable slide for evacuation, because they are worried that the inflatable slide will give passengers cause secondary damage. Since the only radio left on the plane is used for make contact with firefighters, the crew used their own mobile phone to give Zhangyi call for ground service at the airport, just called the boarding ladder. 440 passengers in a stuffy cabin. After 50 minutes, evacuate safely from the right side of the aircraft. The number 1 engine cannot be turned off. After more than 2 hours of fire water spraying, it stopped working. 469 people on board Qantas Flight 32 hours after the plane takes off. Return to Singapore unharmed. And this came again through the internet. Spread all over the world. And this time everyone breathed a sigh of relief. 5 people flying. The engine exploded, causing serious damage to the aircraft. All subsequent judgments and decisions achieved the most perfect result. At the same time, the safety of this giant technology has also been compromised. Question. After 3 years of investigation, the Australian Transport Safety Bureau has released this investigation report after the accident. The investigation team derived engine parameters and data, found the lead turbine disc, the route where non-inclusive failure occurs, broken slide U-tube. They discovered that lubricating oil for turbine disc bearings pipes during the manufacturing process. There was an obvious quality problem. The wall thickness of this pipe is thicker than that of the qualified product, 0.5 mm thinner. Since the bottom end of the pipeline needs to be installed with a lubricating oil filter, so he needs to make a pipeline higher than the upper end, bigger countersink. This countersink should theoretically align with the center of the main hole. But Rolls-Royce's subcontractor, Harkono, is when making sweaters due to furniture, causing the machine to deviate from the center position when punching holes. In the follow-up inspection, it has been welded because the countersink is broken. So it's hard to find punching errors. So this defective product, it was installed like this until then. All engine factories of the same type. And the engine that happened, it's not the worst. Even Qantas 3 flights, no failure this time. The problem of lubricating oil fire caused by substandard piping, sooner or later it will still happen on other planes. After the truth comes to light. All bearings manufactured by Hackanaw. All discontinued, and it is disposed of according to scrap. Rolls-Royce. Revised design and manufacturing procedures. Make sure the designer reach consensus with subcontractors on production. Less than half a millimeter, nearly crashed the world's largest commercial airliner. And Captain Crespini, who saved the plane. Awarded the Order of Australia, which represents outstanding achievement. 5 pilots on 2 flights of Emirates 3. In 2011, it was awarded the Representation of Civil Aviation, the North Star Award, the highest honor in the world. In this unexpected incident, the design of the A380 is also commendable. 2 hydraulic systems in the aircraft. If one is damaged, telex system, it also allows the aircraft to maintain high-quality handling. Autonomous driving still works perfectly. ECM and details page can help unit fast. Quick understanding, aircraft status and troubleshooting. This allows the crew to operate after the plane malfunctions, enough time to make decisions, rather than focusing on flying the plane. Qantas. Since its establishment, there is a tradition that if it can be repaired, it will never be scrapped. The A380 cost $139 million. 2 years. It was successfully repaired. As of today when the video was released, Nancy Bird, Walton, still in London, soared through the sky on the route to Sydney.